I finally have the ability to shoot in C-Log 2 and 3. Again, this is something that the R6 does not offer. So clearly I was wrong about that, and the funny thing is 3 days before I filmed that video is when Canon released a firmware update 1.4.0 for the R6 that does include C-Log 3, and I completely missed it, so here we are. Something else about this 1.4.0 update for the R6 is now we have the capability of shooting to both cards simultaneously in the dual card slot, which is clutch. If you guys want to learn more about this new update for the R6, be sure to check out my buddy Sam Holland's video. He did a really short but concise breakdown of the firmware update, and he even does the comparison between regular C-Log and C-Log 3 with the R6. So again, check that video out. I'll link it somewhere up here or somewhere down in the description below. So the reason I'm doing this whole comparison video, say for instance you're out on a project, you're filming and you're using the C70 as your A camera. Yes, you could use C-Log 2, which I think is the best out of all the 3 C-Log profiles, but you also have the R6 as your B camera. The R6 doesn't have C-Log 2, so you're gonna have to use C-Log 3 on both cameras if you wanna match the color as close as possible. And trust me, you want to do that because it'll make your life easier when it comes to color correcting and color grading in post. Now, something interesting when it comes to C-Log 3 is that in the R6 and the C70, the native ISO is 800, which is different for me coming from the R6 and only being able to shoot in the C-Log, the native ISO was 400. So it'll be interesting bumping that ISO up and see if there's any noise and grain in the shadows. The R6 does handle low light situations pretty well, especially when you have to bump up the ISO, and I'm assuming the C70 does as well. But again, I figured that was something worth mentioning. By now, I'm guessing you guys are ready to see the C-Log 3 comparison between the C70 and the R6. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out, we're gonna take both cameras and shoot identical shots, and we're gonna show you guys the uncolor corrected versions and the color corrected versions. I'm gonna set it up as camera A, camera B, and I'm gonna leave it to you guys to guess which camera is which. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the footage. Okay, we're back. Now, what we're going to do real quick, we're going to take a quick pause before I reveal which camera was which, and I want you guys to go in the comment section and let me know which camera do you think was the C70 and which camera do you think was the R6. So, quick pause right now. All right, so if you think that camera A was the C70, you're wrong. Camera B was the C70. Don't feel too bad if you got it wrong, because the picture coming out of both of these cameras using C-Log 3 are nearly identical, and I honestly expected more of a difference, especially comparing a mirrorless camera to a cinema camera, but the R6 really held its own in this comparison. If you really want to get nitpicky, I will say that the color coming from the R6 is slightly cooler. It almost has this bluish greenish tint to it, while the C70 is a little warmer and a little more natural looking in my opinion. Also, if you want to zoom into the shadows, clearly the R6, there's a lot more grain and noise in the shadows compared to the C70. But again, I'm just being nitpicky. The color is something that you can fix easily in post, and the grain and the noise to me isn't that big of a deal, especially when you zoom out, you can barely notice it. So if you have the R6 or are looking to get the R6, it's already a beast of a camera, and the C-Log 3 just makes it that much better. Just in general, the R6 is still one of my favorite cameras that's come from Canon within the last year. One plus about the R6, especially now with the C-Log 3, not every single shoot requires a huge rigged out cinema camera, especially in run and gun situations, and the R6's compactness compared to the C70 definitely gives it a decent advantage in certain circumstances. And actually, speaking of rigs, I've already begun the build for my C70 that I'm pretty excited about. The only downside is the amount of money I've already spent on building this thing out, and it's still a work in progress. But again, I'm really excited about it. Let me go ahead and show you guys my setup real quick. I'm gonna take my R6. First things first, you can see the matte box on it. Got it from Small Rig. We have right here the C70 itself, and I have it mounted on my tripod via this Small Rig mount right here with these two rods. Connected to these rods is my V-mount battery right here, and you can see that I have that going to the camera from this D-tap to the DC input right there. Focus, come on. You guys get the gist of it. Right now I have my Atomos Ninja 5 right here plugged into the camera via HDMI. Usually I would have it up top, but I didn't like looking up there when I was checking the picture, so I put it beside the lens so I could reference it easier. And I also have my Zoom H4n running from here to the boom mic. So eventually, let me sit down. Eventually, I want to be able to mount the Atomos Ninja 5 and the mic to my camera, so I'm pretty sure I gotta buy a cage and a couple more mounts and things like that. But again, work in progress. I can't wait to finish this build. Also, I got this beast of a gimbal here, the DJI Ronin S2, that I'm excited about. I'm definitely gonna be pairing the C70 with this for some projects, including some real estate videos and things like that. So really excited to get that going. Big things are happening, guys. I feel like I'm getting this whole cinematographer, photographer, videographer makeover. It's kind of amazing. Well, I guess I'm done here. I hope you guys are as excited about C-Log 3 for the R6 as I am, especially because it pretty much held its own compared to the C70. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. My name is Tristan Irvin. I upload videos weekly. Also hit that bell notification so when I do upload, you get notified. Follow me on social media, and I'm pretty sure I'll be seeing you guys next week. I'm out of here. Peace.